Woo, my goodness. Happy New Year. If you guys are out there at all, let me look and see. What a glitch. What a glitch. What a glitch. I had to go out, cancel that whole thing out, and re-put it in. So I'm going to wait a few seconds. Might have lost some people, which, yeah, almost 10 minutes in. So I apologize. Happy New Year. These New Year technical difficulties. Gotta love them. Oh my goodness, my goodness. So I'll give it a minute, see if anybody pops back on. If not, so I sort of came on and thought I would do just sort of a fun time. People can ask questions. People can, yeah, so people can ask questions. My computer's just having all kinds of problems. So this is just a happy new year for you guys. I hope everybody had a very safe New Year's Eve, and I hope that everybody is going to have a really, really good 2021. Yeah, so I've got to do something here just for a second. Hang on a second here. While we're waiting. Ooh, somebody had a car break in last night. Not good. Not a good way to start a new year. So I did a boo-boo here, so you guys know. I invited a friend over and I didn't realize my daughter's dad was going to bring her food and all that kind of stuff. So my bad. So I just wanted to text her just to make sure, because she lives with me. My daughter lives with me. So anyway, so today is sort of a free day. And if there isn't any questions or anything, I'll just do a real quick New Year's Day reading. But this is basically for you guys. If you want to ask questions, have me tell a story, give you some hoo-hoo stories, that kind of a thing. If you're inquiring about being an empath or anything of that nature, that kind of a thing. Let me just, if I don't release these energies here, I will be carrying them into this, and I don't want to do that. All right, so that's done. So yeah, so this is all about you. So if there's any questions or anything like that, hopefully the persons that were on before will find me. If they're subscribed, then they will actually know how to find me. If they're not, then they won't. So anyway, if you're there and you have questions, don't hesitate. This is for you. Otherwise, I'm just going to do a real quick reading for the new year and go from there. And then I'm going to actually be doing a video right after this on working with your spirit, finding your spirit, working what your purpose is, that kind of a thing. I've already had some epiphanies this morning that the divine shared with me for the new year. I'm really, really looking forward to the new year because I'm excited because it's going to be a big spiritual journey. For those of you that don't know, the New Year's 2021, the card for the year is the Hierophant. So this will be a real interesting journey for many, many people if they are not in tune with spirit or their purpose. So it will be very, very interesting. So let's just do a reading, and if somebody pops in, you have a question, that's great. I didn't expect really anybody just because I didn't realize that most people are going to be still sleeping. So anyway, I'm an early riser, so that's okay. So let's see what the energies are for today. All right. Ooh, didn't even have to do that. Yeah, definitely. So this will be an interesting year. So a lot of people are actually learning new things. A lot of people are going to be delving into new things because for a lot of you guys, it was creative. things that we have to recreate, those kind of things that are going to be happening for this year. And there's going to be a lot of people doing things. So we're going to be novices. So we're going to be doing things in the beginning, little unstable, but still curious, see what's happening then, and going on with that. But is it beginner? You're sort of innocent. We still don't know anything. We're not ignorant because we're learning and we're growing something or learning something. So this is going to be the energy for 2021. It's all going to be new, fresh and new. And we're also, like many of you, when I did the readings this week, we're going through the birth canal. So we're actually just in the beginning of the birth canal. And that meaning that we're going to be having contractions and expansion, contraction, expansion, as we move through that, because it's sort of like a bowel movement. That's disgusting, huh? But anyway, or a snake that's trying to push the food back through its gullet, kind of a thing. So this is the way that our birth canal is going to be for 2021. This is going to be an expansion time, as we're actually in expansion with this, what do you call it? Oh my gosh, I can't even think. The conjunction. With the conjunction, we are in an expansion phase. Every 20 years, it's either contraction or expansion, extraction or contraction or expansion. So we're actually in the expansion for the next 20 years. However, it's not going to be easy because a lot of people don't like change, and change is inevitable. So that's just going to be happening. Yeah, so then we have the Lady of the Lake. So self-respect, courage, absolute truth, responsibility, taking responsibility for who you are, what your actions are, things like that. That is something that is going to be really important for your growth and understanding of yourself. And that's going to really make things change for you, because as a novice, you have to learn something new. When you do, you have to respect whatever it is that you're learning about. So you have to learn about a mentor or something like that will help you through that process. So yeah, so this is a really good thing. And it does take courage to learn something new, It does take courage to learn something new. So this is going to be a really exciting year, at least for me, because the other thing, too, about this year that many of people don't know is the card for the year is the Hierophant. Now, if you know anything about the Hierophant, it's very spiritual, the number one spiritual card in a deck. But the thing is, too, this is where we are going to be searching and reaching and growing and things like that. So the Hierophant is the card for 2021. So, and that's why you'll see me doing a lot more spiritual growth videos. I'll be doing one probably this afternoon. Yeah, so sorry, I had a plot drop. So that's where that will be. So this is really exciting because things are fresh and new. We've gone through the pandemic. We've gone through the hard part. We've made it through. So most of us have made it through, and rest in peace for those who didn't. And it is sad. It is very sad. However, for us that are still here, we've made it through, and now we have to be feeling the repercussions of it. So that's what the energies of the planets are. And so we're going to see in the future what that's all about. And the repercussions and what we're ready for. So like with the Lady of the Lake, we have to take responsibility. So in our lives for 2021, you have to take in responsibility for your choices and your decisions. I talked a lot about that with some of the signs for this next week, through the 4th through the 10th, because we have free will. So we can make the free will to make a good choice, or we can make the free will to make a crappy choice. If you're like me in my earlier years, made lots of crappy choices. So that's something for this next year that, you might want to maybe make partly a goal is to make better choices. And the way we do that is through making choices through spirit rather than earth. And that's really, really important, because when we make decisions, especially when we're learning something new, when we make decisions, we are actually making decisions either from our head or from our spirit. And a lot of what comes out of our head is logic, earth logic, and it's very limited. Whereas your spirit is unlimited because it's not of our understanding. We will never, ever, I don't care if you're who you are on this earth, never understand spirit, because his way is not our way, because he's energy. So how can we understand that? It's way beyond our fathoming is that too. So that kind of a thing. So if you're popping in, welcome, welcome. Sorry, I don't know if you tried to get on for the other thing. My computer crashed. Actually, the computer didn't crash. My internet for YouTube crashed. And I couldn't get it back, so I had to redo it. So feel free to pop in, ask a question, tell me where you're from. This is about you guys. And if there are no questions, I'm just going to sort of do a reading for the day. And that's what I did, is I pulled the oracles, the novice and Lady of the Lake, to get the energies for this coming year. And like I had mentioned earlier, I've had some epiphanies, and I'm really excited about this year. That woke up this morning and it was like, boom, Spirit talked to me, and I was like, yes, I'm excited. So again, the beginning of this year is about making choices and things like that. Hi, Susie. In Colorado. Wow. Snowy, right? It's snowy over there. Yeah. Cool. Oh, there you go. Yeah. But it is, being an empath and doing what I do, a lot of you don't know, is that this wasn't a journey that was planned. Again, when we talk about doing things and respecting ourselves and our responsibilities, it's who are you being responsible to? Are you being responsible to Earth? Are you being responsible to God or your creator or spirit, whoever you want to call it? I call spirit God when I'm not on YouTube, because that's who I grew up with that name. However, I feel comfortable with that name. It resonates with me. Creator, it's okay, and spirit, he is a Holy Spirit. So I mean, we can't fathom all of that. Anyway, I never ever planned any of this. So I've been an empath. When you're an empath from birth. Okay. So it's just your awakenings grow if you allow it. However, back in 1991, I had little gifts all my life, but in 1991 is when it exploded. So I began to hear, the ability to hear, and it scared the crap out of me. I didn't want to make it go away. I just was afraid of it because I didn't know who was actually giving me these messages. But they were messages of good, or messages to help somebody. For example, and this is going to sound really funny, but I'm sharing this with you because it's all about you here, because you can allow your abilities to happen. You can be fearful of your abilities to happen, and maybe your intuition is your only ability, but that ability is humongous because it's your GPS, it's your wisdom, it's your guidance, it's how you make decisions, it's all that kind of stuff. So back then, I was actually working for Costco as security. And the first time I heard voice, it scared me because it was like a light switch, had not only heard voice, but I could feel the energy of who I was walking by. I was like, what is going on? I was like really feeling a little crazy kind of a thing. It's like, what's going on? Because I walked by this one person and I got a real bad feeling about that person. He had a cast on, wore a vest, because it was winter. And I just like, ooh, I don't like that. What was that? And I didn't know. So again, I walked past him again because I was trying to catch shoplifters. That was part of my job. And I walked past him again, and I got this energy of like, something's not good about this person. So I'm walking around, and then all of a sudden I hear. Now, this is all in the same day. And I'm like, really? What the frick is going on? What I hear is follow him. And I'm like, say what? I thought, oh, that's just me talking to myself in my head. Follow him again. And then I was like, okay. Then I heard, after following him for a little bit, I was like, okay, I'm going crazy. I walked away as he went and shopped around or whatever he was doing. Didn't have a card or anything. And I passed by him again and I was like, oh, I just don't like this feeling. Who is this dude? Why is this happening? So he began to walk away and I heard, go to the aisle where you first saw him. And I'm like, say what? Oh, okay, now I'm really thinking I'm going nuts, right? And this is all probably happening within 45 minutes. And I walked away and I'm like, okay, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. And this is why I'm going to share with you this story, because it's really important for you, for your future life, to really pay and recognize certain things in your future. So I walked away, I was walking around, and again, I heard it, but louder for the second time. Go to the aisle where you first met him. Okay. So I like, okay, what is happening? I'm going nuts. I'm feeling really, I'm going nuts. So when it happened the third time, even louder and more demanding, I thought, okay. So I'm like, okay. And I just all of a sudden in my head, of course, not out in public because people would think you were completely nuts. I'm in my head and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Gosh, I'm so stupid. What is going on here? I'm just going to show you it. This is just thoughts in my head. I go back and I hide the aisle behind, because if you know Costco or Sam's Club or wherever you're at, you know how you can look through the grids. I used to work there for 10 years. But I could look through the grid. So I'm looking through to this aisle and I'm standing there. Probably, a minute can last a long time, but I'm just like there. See, I'm going nuts. There is nobody here. He's not coming. There's no way. I am going flipping nuts. And as soon as I said that, lo and behold, here he comes. And I was like shaking like no tomorrow. I thought I was going to crap my pants. So then what happens is that I stand there and I'm on the other aisle because I'm not in the same aisle. I'm just looking through and he's got his back to me and he's looking at drills and tools. And I'm like, holy crap, what's going on? What's going on? So then I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, so what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So I sat there and I just watched. Now, this is divine interaction because I don't know what was going on with me that day. I could feel energies just like that. I could hear just like that. But here's the thing. He's facing the drills and he looks one way and he looks the other way, checking to see if there's anybody coming in those aisles, right? And then all of a sudden, he turns around and looks straight at me. I'm not joking. And I don't need to lie. I don't need to tell a story that isn't true. But he looks straight at me and I'm like, oh, there he goes. There, I'm busted, so he knows I'm watching him. He turns and looks back another way, turns back around, turns and looks at another way, takes a drill and pops it underneath his fake cast in his vest. And I'm like, what is going on? And so I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Well, if you work in security or criminal justice kind of thing, when you're working with shoplifters, anything like that, you have to stay on them. You cannot let your sight out at all on them or you can't bust them. So I started following him probably 10 feet behind him. But get this is divine intervention. This was a day that Jim Sinegal, the owner of Costco, and his team were there. And lo and behold, they were in another aisle that I had to pass and they were talking with my manager. And as I'm watching this guy, I quietly said, I am on him. He's got a drill. And there Jim Cynical's like, wow, oh, okay. So they left their little meeting and they went, and I followed him all the way out, and he went all the way around the store and out the door with the drill. And then actually when the manager went out after him to ask about, walking out with the drill, he took off. Now that was the first day of catching a shoplifter in that way. Now after that, I was starting to catch shoplifter after shoplifter just by the feel of their energies. This was all the beginning of learning about feels of the energies. So what I take with this is when you become awakened with your choices and your decisions that you make, and you make them at a higher level, a higher vibration, by making those choices and decisions through spirit, the divine, God, rather than earth, you begin to have more things open up to you. So back then, I have my faith. I've always had a faith. I've always been different. I always know that there's more here. I've heard my mother speak to me after her passing. In fact, she demanded me to do something for like my 92-year-old aunt. Again, 3 times. Usually they will come. Usually a ancestor or a spirit or whatever will come. If they come to you 3 times or see something 3 times or something like that, they're really trying to get a message. They really need something to happen. In the case of my mom, this was probably a year after her passing, but on her deathbed, she knew I was a little hoo-hoo-y anyway. But on her deathbed, I said, Mom, I don't know. We don't know what's going on. Happy New Year, Abigail. Welcome. Just storytelling. If you guys want me to pick a card or do whatever, just let me know. I'm just doing a little storytelling here. But my mom had passed away about a year. Now, my brother was murdered in 94. And by then, remember, my abilities to hear and feel were really awakened in 91. So I actually knew, unfortunately, my brother was going to be killed down in Florida. I knew he wasn't going to come home. I had a premonition. And at least I was blessed to know and be able to tell him I loved him very much. I tried really, 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 really hard to get him home before that happened, but he got in a little trouble with the police down there, and so he was on probation. And I said, just like, keep your nose clean, please keep your nose clean. You've only got 1 month left, and I'm going to send you an airplane ticket to come home. But because this horrible feeling that I had that he wasn't going to make it, and then when my mom called me and she was screaming and crying, and this was her 3rd child she lost. But she was screaming and crying and saying we lost him. He was murdered. And I just, again, I was very fairly new with all my abilities of understanding them. So it was really, really hard. I just sat on the phone, and, I knew that he's my brother and I love and I don't want to lose him, but I was even more shooken that I knew. And why did I know? But I know now, if you understand and you grow your abilities and you really hone in on abilities, you can really learn why. It's like when I talk to you guys in your readings about the dot to dot connects, I can actually now see why dots and dots in my life. I might be able to see why that in yours. If I sit down and do an intuitive coaching with you, I can, see some of those things, and my abilities are growing, and they're growing in different areas. And that's why I'm excited about 2021, because they're growing in a different area. However, I forgot what story my mom. So my mom passed of cancer in 2010. And a year later, I was driving to the post office. What's really weird about God or divine or spirit is he talks to you in the weirdest places, in the shower, in the car. He talks to you because you're there alone, you're quiet, you're focused, and you can actually, so don't be surprised if you hear a voice or something tell you something while you're alone somewhere. It happens a lot. It happens a lot to a lot of people. Or if you're out, very quiet place, those kind of things. You just got to keep your vibrations high, because there are low vibrations you do not want to have enter into your circle. But my mom passed away for a year, or she'd gone a year. But before, on her deathbed, I said, Mom, I'm sort of weird with she goes, oh, you got grandma's abilities. And she knew. I think she actually had some, but she was afraid. That generation, you don't talk about those kind of things. They put you away in the loony bin. So I said, if there is any way at all when you pass away that you can contact me, if there's any way, because we don't know what's on the other side. So I said, if there is any way in God's green earth that you can contact me, yeah, always in the shower. I don't know what it is, maybe we're comfortable, we're relaxed, we are in a thought process kind of thing. Yeah. So she said, yeah, I don't know if I can, Patty. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, if I can, of course, I want to know. Well, I already know that there's life on the other side from my brother when he was murdered. There's a lot of stories with that. But with my mom, and this is why I say three things, three times is really important. Whether you see, hear, smell, something, whatever, there's messages through, even if there's, reading, if you hear something three times, then maybe that's the reason. Hello, Taurus. Happy New Year. Welcome, welcome. So I asked her, she said yes, she passed away. Nothing until this year, this one right after this year. And I was coming from the post office. I can still see myself driving. And you know how your parents, I don't know how many of your parents use your real legal name when you're in trouble. Mine's Patricia Ann. Okay. So I'm driving and I hear Patricia Ann. And I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Mom's voice. I need you to call Aunt Gertie. And I'm like, okay, here it goes again. And I'm like, is this me, or is this missing my mom? Is this me? I'm like, there's no way, I'm like, okay, I'm going crazy again. And I doubted it. So halfway home, it's only a 10-minute drive, I hear it again. Now only she says, Patty Ann, I need you to call Aunt Gertie. Now, Aunt Gertie lives in California, and she was 92 at that time. So, and my uncle had passed on, so she's alone, living in a house by herself. Very ambulatory, very with it. Loved Aunt Gertie. She has passed on now. But the thing is that I'm driving home. She goes, I need you to call Aunt Gertie. Well, many of you know that I work with saddles, and I'm a leathersmith, right? And so I get home, and I just ignore it. And I'm like, oh, I got to go work out in the leather shop. My leather shop's in my garage, right? So I work out in my leather shop, and I'm starting to work, and I hear it for a third time. Patty Ann, I need you to call Aunt Gertie. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Mom, I said, I got to get this done. I said, okay. And I looked at the clock, and I said, you know what? I've got to work out here until about 7:30. So I will call her at 7:30. Okay. So about 7:29, Patty Ann, you told me you were going to call Aunt Gertie. And I'm like, now I'm a little hesitant to call Aunt Gertie. Like, did she pass away? She is 92. Why am I calling Aunt Gertie? So as I go in, I'm a little nervous because I don't know if this is bad news coming. I don't know, because I'm hearing my mother, who's passed on. And we made that thing saying, yes, okay, she would try to get a hold of me somehow. So I dial Aunt Gertie's phone number, and she gets on the phone with her little old feeble voice. Well, hello. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Aunt Gertie, how are you? And she goes, oh, you remembered my birthday. I had no idea it was Aunt Gertie's birthday. And so we talked for a little bit, and I'm just sitting there like, Okay. So at the very end, so my Aunt Gertie had seen my uncle after he passed on. So I knew that she was like okay with a little bit of hoo-hoo-ness. But I said, Aunt Gertie, I got to share with you. Um, this is going to sound really weird, but I heard mom today, and she's the one that told me to call you. And she knew that my mom was passed on. She still had all her faculties. And she's like, oh, really? She goes, oh my goodness. She goes, she has never missed a birthday ever. And so she's still making sure she wishes me a happy birthday. And I was like, these are the stories. This is what I live with. So being an empath can be really, really interesting. So, does anybody have any questions for the new year or anything like that? Oh my goodness. Anyway, because I said this is about you guys. This is whatever you want to learn, whatever you have a question about, whether you have abilities and you want to learn about those abilities, that kind of a thing. That's what this is about. But we just are, and I didn't plan on doing a reading, but if you want me to do a reading, I can do that. I can do a pick a card or whatever. This is for you. And I love telling stories anyway. I do have a book out on the market, as you see back here. That's my first book. My second book is going to be about my hoo-hoo-ness and some of these stories, but also too, I've lived in Japan for years. Some stories about those. My daughter's just talking. She goes, please, mom, just write a book. Everybody thinks you're so interesting. I'm like, why? I just lived my life, you know. Everybody has their own journey, right? You guys have your own journey, right? Oh, hey, Felix, I didn't see you pop in. Hey. Welcome, welcome. Again, if you guys are popping in and you went to my thing, I don't know what happened. I had two people in, the whole thing froze. I had to shut everything down and come back in again. This is an indication we're in 2021 and it's still not over. Anyway, so yeah, if you have questions or anything like that, pop it in, right? You know, now's a good time. Or if you like this kind of storytelling, please like, share, subscribe, hit the button so you know when I'm doing these or when my computer glitches and I have to come back on. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm a boomer. What can I say? You know? But as I was saying earlier, for those who popped in a little bit later, I pulled a couple oracles for the new year, and we do have a lot of new things starting. And like I was talking about, the card for the new year is the Hierophant. So don't be surprised if you see people around you wanting to learn more about spirituality. Like I said, I'm going to do a video, more videos on growing your relationship with spirit so you can really, really make better choices in your life, make better. Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I? Talk about that. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I did. I did. See, I don't remember the readings a lot of the time until you guys say it because it's not for me. They're not for me. And that's the way when you have an ability that if you have it, it's not for you. You have to share that and give that because this is a gift to be shared through you. So whatever it is, it's through you in light. In light. You got to keep it in light. And the only way to do that is ask spirit to surround you. When you are learning about getting a closer relationship with spirit, for a lot of you, this is going to be your new thing. And it's really, really important because I will tell you, I used to be not a nice person. I still could be a little bit mean. But what I mean by nice is I was sexually abused as a kid and emotionally and verbally abused. So a lot of homework. However, I didn't really do my epiphany or turn my life completely around 180 until I was in my probably in my 40s, late 40s. And the reason is I learned all the tools, I just didn't apply them out of fear. So it took me all those years, even though you can learn book science, until you walk the walk, you actually learn how to live your life in love or you live it in fear. So you have two choices. And if you live it in fear, that's earth, that's bounded, that's the logical thinking. But if you live it in love, that is the spiritual way of thinking. That is the high form of thinking. And so when you do that, you embrace yourself in love, light. You ask God for protection. Because once you ask for protection, He does protect you. Because one of the big things and why He does that, and that's why I know no harm is going to ever come to me. You can say whatever you want, but you know what? You're never going to harm me because I am protected. And the reason why I know that is He's giving me gifts I'm sharing with people. Also, too, I have faith in Him, number one, first and foremost. I don't take this wrong, guys, but humans are so fickle that you cannot count on them as a resource. You have to go to the source. That's why when I talk in the readings about intuition, you'll hear me pound that in over and over and over, because your intuition is your spirit guide, your spirit wisdom, your spirit knowledge, all this kind of stuff. And the more you get in tune with it, the more you're going to blow your mind at how much you're going to absorb abundance. This life here, we are abundant and we're blessed. I mean, if you're watching this, you have all your faculties, you have something to watch it on. However, there is much more abundance, and that abundance is not a material thing here. It is actually abundance of wisdom, abundance of, and you'll get things. I mean, I can't believe how I've been blessed. It has been blown me. I lost my job in May. I've had more money this year, and that's not from doing YouTube. I've had more money this year given to me because I went outside my box, and I actually am doing, intuitive tarot. I'm doing spiritual coaching. I'm doing health coaching, purpose coaching, life balance coaching. And it's very much out of my comfort zone. Yes, I learned all this in college, but the thing is, I've kept it for me. I kept it for me. And now when the divine says, I want you to, again, the shower thing, well, this was a car thing. Back in 2019, he says, go and teach. And I'm like driving, and I'm like, what? Go teach what? What am I teaching? And I'm like, he goes, go and teach. I have prepared you for this time. And I'm like, what? Japanese? You want me to teach Japanese? You want me to teach English again? What do you want me to teach? Nutrition and fitness? I don't want to go back into nutrition and fitness. What do you want me to teach? I don't know. Go and teach. And then one day, epiphany, Get Balanced 2020. That popped up in late November when I lost my dog and my horse. He took things away. Yes, and it is painful. I mean, I could start crying now, so don't get me started. But we have to release things. This was the end of 2019 in November. Lost my dog of 13 years. And 2 weeks later, my income was so bad that I'm a single mom and trying to make it with my daughter, right? So I didn't have the funds to keep my horse anymore. And this was the third time I've been in that situation. And I said, okay, God, you know that He is my grounding. I've had Him for 16 years. I should show you a picture of Him. I don't even think I have one in here, but He's my grounding. He's my nature. For empaths, there are certain things that you have to keep refueled, keep grounded, keep and all that kind of stuff. That was my horse for me. And nature, I have to have nature. I have to have nature. You can't put me in an apartment and survive. Now, when I get old and they put me in a nursing home, I'm done. I can't handle that. I'm done. I'll check out. But He was my grounding. I lost him 2 weeks before, because here's the thing. And if you talk to God, the divine, He will listen. He will answer. Here's the thing why. So I had this situation twice before, and I would pray, Lord, if this is the time for you to take him away, please take him. Give him, and again, we got to talk about praying for specifics or meditating in specifics. But I said, if I'm allowed to keep him, please make a way for me to keep him, knowing my situation. In less than an hour, I had an opportunity to move that horse to a place that I could afford. It'll happen quick. This time, I said, Lord, you know what? Bo is my, I'm going to start crying. Bo is my life. Bo is my grounding. Bo is everything. If you're going to take him away, please, and this is where I go into specifics. Please give him a home that he can be used and ridden and taken care of and loved, and they can afford to keep him. And can you please make it close to home so I can go visit him? Within one day. Hello, sure. Not even one day, within hours, this lady approached me and said I would like to buy him, and gave me the money I asked for him. It was close to home. She was also a believer in God, and she has led me to have the opportunity to go see him whenever I can. It's very painful. I try not to do it as much as I can, but God gave me everything I asked for because I was specific. And I could go on story after story after story about the specifics of that, but I won't do that and waste your time. You'll have to read my book. But anyway, again, the things that we don't always want to ask divine for things. He's not Santa Claus, but we do want to ask him for knowledge and wisdom and guidance. Those are the three things. If you ask for those three things, you become to get closer, and you really listen to your intuition and your gut rather than listening to this head and going your own way. The other thing too is that a lot of the times when you guys are asking me questions, you know the answer inside yourself. However, you ask it for validation. You don't need a human's validation. You already have it. Some of you ask because you just haven't learned those steps or levels yet, because I'm a lot older than you. So the thing is, and also too, maybe you're not at that spiritual level, but you can get there. You can get there. I never was there. I used to be horrible. I was headed down the wrong path. And I don't want to go into that story, but I was headed down the wrong path. And I had literally a 180 wake up call. And that was the divine saying, I'm showing you something. You either turn around or your life is going to go into the dumper. And I was scared. I was like, I don't want to disappoint, and I've got these abilities, and they're gifts. I don't want to slap him in the face and not do that. So then all of a sudden my life turned around, and that's when things began to explode. But in 2019, when he gave me that epiphany to go and teach, I didn't know what to teach. I didn't know what I was teaching. But I have learned, and we did start, when I lost my horse and stuff, he did start to show me ways, and he will do that. Just like when I bought my business, wasn't going to own my business, fought that. Intuition was saying, yes, go. I'm like, no, I'm a broke mom. I'm a single mom. I don't have any money. How am I supposed to buy a business? Let me tell you, if it is something on your purpose and your path, and you say yes to it, to the divine, he will put every resource there. I had a business in a year. I had my business plan, the funding, and in a year. And I'm like, wow. Just like when I started hearing, I was like, what the frick is happening? Okay. So that was almost 20 years ago. So I'm still doing leather work. Times have changed, however, but if you listen and you hear that intuition, that inside voice, that is spirit. When you put your head into it, that's logic, that's limiting. And just know that the spirit inside you is unlimited, and he can do. And once you start to accept and hear that, a lot of people will say, oh, well, it's the universe. Well, the universe is vibrations and energies. That's how the universe works. I mean, you'll see me talk about planets and stuff because I enjoy learning about that. It's not my job or anything. It's just a hobby that I like to do. Plus, I can now see more futuristic what is coming up, and being an empath and having these abilities on top of it, I'm able to see things more clearly. And those kind of things. And also, too, I'm doing things for my body to take more health conditions and more, because as I get older, things are change and shift and sag. And get looser and all kinds of stuff. So I'm taking better care of my body and my mental state and everything like that. So that really, really helps. It's really important for you, for your future, to do that. So, but if you listen, I'm not saying, everybody's going to have the same thing. My mother, before she passed, when my brother was murdered, and I know she's like, why can you see and hear things? Why can you, I want to be able to have this, because she lost, this was her third child she lost. She wanted she did, she was disabled, so she could not go to Florida because he was murdered in West Palm Beach, Florida. She could not go to Florida at that time because she was in a scooter, and we were financially not able to send more than one person to go get his remains. And if you ever have somebody that is a victim of a homicide, there are so many things to do and not do, and you will be taken for a ride. People will take advantage of you. Please contact me. I will share some of those things, if you have family members or anything like that, because I don't want you to lose money, and they're there to take it. And I could go into a couple stories that really just piss me off that they got away with it. But anyway, she couldn't go. So I had to go with my brother, and there it was a big thing because that week, he was a taxi cab driver. So the week before he was murdered, another taxi cab driver was murdered, then my brother. And then the week after my brother was murdered, there was a taxi cab driver accosted, but he had carried a gun at that time because they were scared, and shot the guy that was trying to assault him, and he didn't go to jail or anything like that. It was self-defense. But at that time, she didn't have any of that. And so she missed that. And she goes, why is he coming to you? And I'm like, I don't know, Mom. I guess because I'm open to it. I don't know. I don't know why I have those gifts. We will never understand why some have more than not, but we do all have intuition. That's the biggest thing I can share with you today. And that's why you'll hear me. And in the coming 2021, the divine has shared, please do, he wants me to do more spiritual videos on your purpose and how to grow those and how to listen and what to listen for and how to not block those and how to, grow your gift and share your gifts or whatever it is, because we're not here for here. We're for ourselves. We're not. And if you are, and it really bothers me when people use the word narcissistic, if they're not actually diagnosed with it, because that is a real condition, and people are very self-centered, and this is the thing, is we don't want to be self-centered. We want to be selfless, and that's what 2021 is going to be about. The Hierophant card, selfless, that's what's pretty much about it. So this is just something you'll hear me pound into my readings, and it's not me pounding it, it's the divine showing it. It's like, please listen, because I'm trying to show you which way to go, but this gets in the way because we are so used to, okay, thank you. So he wants to share that I give you what you need, not what you want. This is really important, and probably one of the last things, unless you guys have questions or something like that, because I don't want to keep you, because this is New Year's Day, and I'm sure you guys want to have a really good day with your families or your friends or playing games or whatever. But he says, I give you what you need, not what you want. And the thing with that is he does. A lot of the times when you're looking for a mate, you look for something attractive. You look for something that you want. But then he might put somebody that isn't that, gift package that you want, but it is somebody that you're attracted to, but not as attracted. But the thing is that he gives you somebody for your weaknesses. He'll give that opposite person, their strength is your weakness, and your weakness is their strength. So that's why you come, and he gives you those so that you can each learn lessons from each other, and also to grow together. And then it's a beautiful divine intervention. You'll hear me talk about that. And the thing is, if you do that, if you pay attention to what the divine gives you and what you need, that actually grows into a beautiful blossoming thing that you've wanted. That's the key. That is the key. So a lot of the times you will fight divine. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to be there. But the thing is, that's what you need. Give in to that intuition and let the divine give that, because he will give you what you want through the need that he gives you. Does that make sense? So that's from him. He just asked me to share that, and that is really huge. Your need has to be from your spirit, not the earth. And that's really hard because a lot of people are very earthbound, extremely earthbound. That's why I stay pretty much alone, or I'm a loner, because I can't be around a lot of earthbound spirits, because it's just like, it's clarity. It's clarity. And so 2021 is going to become more clear for me, because it's like, it's not an annoyance. It's just like, I wish you could just see the bigger picture. You're being ignorant. But they're not. They're just at a different level of their understanding, their growing, their journey, and that kind of a thing. And that could be you. It could be me. It could be, because I'm sure there's empaths that are much more spiritual than I am. But I just know where my journey is and where God's taking me. And it's amazing. So you're going to see me a lot more spiritual. Get Balanced 2020 and Divine Warrior Intuitive. That's, you see that on my readings. And the reason why is just because in 2019, God said, go teach. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so what do I teach? So I teach nutrition, fitness, mindset, how to change your mindset, how to transform your mindset. Because as light workers, you have a very positive or a high vibration kind of mindset. And it's to help transform somebody to think from earth to spirit. So that's where that got started. But guess what? 6 months later, he's like, no, that's not what I want you doing. I'm like, well, what do you want me to teach? So I fought tarot for a long time. And little history. How many of you guys know the history of tarot? Because I fought it. Because at first I was born and raised as Catholic. Then I lived in Japan. I knew there's something more. There was something more. Like I said, I've known and been different since I was little. However, I went to Japan, and that was the first time I had read the Bible from cover to cover. Did I really understand it? No, not really. But I just knew that there was faith. I had faith. I knew God is there. I know. And then when I came home, I tried to find a church to go to because I was trying to fit in. Couldn't find one. Went to the Baptist church. I like that, okay, fine. And then I went to a church here in town, and they were extremely helpful, benefit, loved it, everything. However, when I was going to college for criminal justice, I studied Black studies. I studied African culture and traditions, and more I got to learn about our history and that we've been lied to, I didn't like it. And I've always been a diverse person. I've always loved the culture of the Black race since I was a kid, and was one of those that used to watch Motown and hide and watch, like Soul Train, and I just like hide and watch. My mom actually didn't care. I didn't know that. But the thing is that that's how I got into Black studies and things like that. But I forgot where I was going with this. Sorry, God. So as I didn't do tarot, that was really that the tarot stuff is, poo poo. You don't do that. That's Satan and all that kind of stuff. Here's the thing. It isn't. If you look at the history of tarot and also the ways that people do tarot, there's a million ways to do tarot. The way that I do tarot and the way that I share my tarot with you is that it is for inspiration, guidance, wisdom from divine. That's why it's intuitive. Others do tarot completely different. Other people do tarot and they say they're psychic. There's some that maybe could be. And a lot of them, they just know how to read the cards. Anybody can do tarot cards. Anybody can read tarot cards. But it is the person within that's reading them that makes the huge difference. So if they're really in touch with their abilities, or are they just reading the cards because they studied them really good and know what to say? So there's a lot of people out there with different abilities, and that's why tarot is very interesting, because it's actually done from the light. If you look at the history of tarot, a lot of people, it's occult, it's Satan. Humans made it that way. Humans created the dark from the tarot, because we are not to know the future. We don't. You and the divine know your own journey, but we don't know the future. But the cards here help tell a story that maybe you're going through. And this is my job and my gift that God wants me to do, is to share that, because I have been through of so many freaking storms and so many challenges and so much trauma that I know how to get through it. And so he knows I can know how to get through it. So the gift is to give to you how to get through it. So that's why I do tarot. It's very different. In fact, I was going to stop doing tarot until God showed me a woman out of Australia, and just on a fluke, I turned her on because I was like, man, this just, I don't know, my logical part of my head was saying this just doesn't feel right, because I've been trained and brainwashed on what to think and how to think about tarot and how to think about things. And then also too, some of my church people is like, well, that's the devil. You're leading them down the wrong way. I am not. We are to take whoever they are, where they are in the place, and bring them closer to their spirit, their divine. That's the way it's supposed to be. However, this woman told me and shared, actually through one of her videos, the messages, how we get messages, that, there is this way, and maybe this is your way of doing tarot. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I just knew tarot. I didn't realize there were so many ways. So that's why you're going to see me do tarot the way that I do it. Is it the right way? There is no right way. There is a wrong way. There's no wrong way. Is there a right spread? No, there's not. It all just depends on what your angle. Yeah, could I do, a love spread? Can I do a Celtic cross? Can I do? Yes, I do that. But whatever the divine tells me to do, I do, because it's not for me. This is not for me. And I'm not going to entertain any dark energies in. I will not do that. I've had poltergeists. I've had shadows. I've had negative energies follow me, and I didn't know how to get rid of them for a long time. But I will not allow that in. That's why we sage the house, we frankincense the house. I will not allow those in again. And that's why it's really important for you guys out there to, when I talk about your garden, your circle, to really go ahead and make sure you be careful who you let into that garden, because you could be putting a poisonous weed in there, toxic poisonous weed, and that is going to just spread. It will spread. So be really, really mindful who you let into your garden or your circle. And I'll keep using that analogy in 2021. All right. I hope this was helpful. Some of the stories, I hope you enjoyed it. I know that it is already almost an hour, and I had planned an hour. So I hope this was fun for you guys. Don't plan on doing this again, probably not until next year, unless you guys request it. So I do need to get working on my book, because my daughter keeps, I'm not a good writer. I need to find an editor, because I am a good storyteller and I have many. However, I am not a good writer. I like it. I used to write a lot. Now I just don't, especially after doing this book here. It is a lot of work. It's, and it published all over the United States, and I think it hit a couple of countries, but it's not that great of a book. If you looked at it, it was like, anyway. But that was nutrition and fitness. That's a nutrition program along with quick cookbook. Okay. And another thing for anybody out there, if you have friends that want to lose weight, I'm going to tell you, it does not start with the body. It starts with the mind and the spirit. Because when I went bodybuilding from 215 pounds down to 136 pounds, I thought it was all about my body. In 1 year, lost 70 some pounds in a year. But the thing is that it had nothing to do with my body. It had to do with my mindset and my spirit, where it was at. So that's why it was really, really important for me to after that get a degree. But then during that process, divine kept showing me it's not about your body, it's about your thinking, it's about the trauma, it's about getting to the roots, it's about getting to the foundation, is why we eat. And then it also too, just a real tip, if you're trying to lose weight at all, get off the complex carbohydrates. And if you don't know what a complex carbohydrate is, Google it, or actually you can and message me. So that's the huge thing that will, and portion sizes. Just know your portion sizes, drop the complex carbohydrates, and you'll begin to lose weight. It has to do with all your glucose and your insulin and your pancreas and all that kind of stuff. And that's belly fat. So if you're having belly fat, that's where that's from. Yeah, you know what, Susie? I asked my daughter about a voice recorder, and is it like when you do your text phoning though? You know how you say, okay, I'm coming home soon, and you look at it and it says, I blah 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 and blah, and I'm like, that's the only thing I worry about is that if I speak it, it doesn't catch the words properly, and then it muffles everything. So whoever's going to edit it now makes a whole new story because they can't read it. That's the only, but I thought of the voice recorder because you know what? It's easier for me. So I might be using that. So if you know of a good one, let me know because I will definitely put it in the comment section or email me or something because it would make it go a million times faster. And it would make it a lot easier for me because I just don't like it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just record and transcribe later. Yeah, I could do that. It's a lot of energy. Voice memos, me too. Yeah. So I just, my daughter's got me, I guess I'm supposed to do a bunch of little books. I'm just waiting for the divine to give me the energies to do it. So as you know, some of you know I'm part-time travel agent, but mostly my leather business is taking off. If you like to look at it, it's the Leather Lady LLC.com. And I just added a store. Talk about a lot of work with doing that. And then for you guys, I can join Get Balance 2020 and the Divine together. So that is now for 2021. I've been working my butt off. No job, but I'm more busier now than I was before. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, if you guys have anything else, otherwise I am going to let you guys go and have a wonderful, I shouldn't say let you guys can log off. Freedom of choice, right? You know, we got free will. You guys can log off anytime. But I do appreciate you popping in. And again, I apologize for the glitch on the computer. I guess that's a New Year's, but you go with the flow. Let me tell you, go with the flow because the divine, if you think you're going to go this way, the divine will take you this way and see how you act and see how you react. It's a test. Watch those tests. All right. I love you guys. I thank you for all the support. I'm hoping that in 2021 I grow bigger, better, and stronger, and that the channel, that you guys continue to enjoy it and have fun with it. And again, any comments, feedbacks, please do that. I really would like to hear from you what you would like. I mean, I was considering even trying to sell some frankincense and all that kind of stuff, but I'm like, I'll wait. So just let me know what you would like, and don't ever hesitate to contact me. I've got people contacting me, emailing me their issues, their problems. It's no charge. I'll email back. I mean, this is my gift to you guys. The only time I will begin to charge is if I get so swamped I have to, and I really don't. I don't foresee that for a long time. So, all right. All right, you guys have a safe new year, and we will see you next week when I do the readings. I just did your readings for 4th through the 10th, so have fun with those and keep moving forward. Leave the past where it belongs. All right. Make sure you love and walk in truth, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Hey, Shrey, thank you for stopping in. Oh, by the way, before you leave, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I would love that. All right. Take care. And I will record this so that you guys can watch it again if somebody wants to watch it. All right. Take care. Love you guys.